ways you can protect yourself, boost your immune system naturally, and kind of give yourself this shield to protect yourself and your family. First, I want to talk about this illustration up top. This is called the Wellness Wall, and I want to give a shout out to Dr. Stuart Kayer in Scarborough, Maine for developing this Wellness Wall that I use all the time in my practice. Almost every talk I do, I bring this wall into it because it's such a beautiful, simple graphic that illustrates health and wellness is a spectrum. We're all up here somewhere. So all the way over there in the green, you have people who are super healthy. That's like our Olympic athletes and our NFL players, and they work super hard every single day to be healthy because their body is their livelihood. All the way down here in the red, we have people who are very sick. Maybe they have multiple medications, have had multiple surgeries, but either way, poor quality of life, potential is very limited. In the middle, in the yellow, maintaining health, this is the person who doesn't have consistent symptoms that they recognize. So this is the person who says, I feel fine, so I must be okay. But we all have heard of people or know people who felt fine and then went to the doctor for a routine physical and came out with some terrible diagnosis. You have fibromyalgia, you have diabetes, you have cancer. So we know that we can't equate with how we feel with how our body is functioning, which is a better prediction of health. So being in that comfort zone is a little scary because, again, they don't make their health a priority because, well, I just have my normal headaches and my daily back pain. Symptoms are not normal. So if we have them, that means we're over here or down. Now, as we go from the middle down towards the red, now we enter poor health. And for many people, this is the first time where the body really starts showing symptoms. So you can see you can lose almost up to 75% of your health in a given area before your body is struggling to adapt and is giving you symptoms that maybe you'll recognize. And oftentimes what happens is we do just enough to where the symptom goes away. And so we're back over here and we kind of stay in this loop, right? Now, if we just think about this, if you were going to get the coronavirus or COVID-19, where on here would you prefer to be when you get that viral infection? What do you think the outcome would be if you were already here when you became infected? What do you think the outcome would be if you were here when you were infected? And what do you think the outcome would be if you were in the green zone when you were infected? It sounds kind of simplistic, but I think we can all see that the closer to the green zone we are to start, the better off we're going to be. And the people that are having, the groups of people having high mortality rates from COVID are over here. So if we can get ourselves out of here and over into the green zone before an infection, we're going to be much better off in the long run. So in our office, we try to help patients get to the green zone as quickly as possible, as effectively as possible, using all the tools that we have in our office to help them get there as quickly as we can. Now, we've mentioned the immune system. What the heck is that? So very simply, it's kind of a trick question because it's not really one system. Like we have a cardiovascular system and we have a respiratory system, and it's not really like that. The immune system is not just one system. It's the perfect harmony of all of your systems working together to defend your body against outside invaders. So that's going to include things like your skin, which is a physical barrier, and it also is a chemical barrier because it will secrete acids that will kill different things. Our mucous membranes, our tonsils, and our lymph nodes, they provide surveillance. They're like the detectives looking for those virus beasts that we saw on the other slide. Inflammation is part of our immune system. Our white blood cells, these guys are so cool. We have so many different types of white blood cells. Some of them can turn into memory cells so they can recognize a virus or a bacteria in the future so that if you come across it again, you don't get sick. And other white blood cells can actually kind of engulf the invader, and they can kind of tear it apart, or they can inject it with stuff to dissolve it from the inside out. I mean, we've got some pretty serious defenses going on in our body at a microscopic level. The other thing that we have to mention when talking about our immune system is our microbiome. That includes all of the flora and fauna primarily in our gut. 80% of our immune system is actually in our gut. So it's super important to take care of the health of your gastrointestinal system when we're talking about the immune system. So of course, we're going to do the 5. Now, I mentioned in an earlier post on Facebook that we were going to be talking about over 40 different ways that you can protect yourself. That number's been upped to over 50, and I'm not including these 5 because they're already out there. So wash your hands. So simple. Wash your hands at least 20 to 30 seconds with hot water and soap. The soap can actually help destroy the outside membrane of the virus or the bacteria, and it can kind of rip it open and destroy it, and then the water rinses it away. But you have to get the soap on it, and you have to have it on long enough, and then you have to have the hot water to rinse the soap away. So wash those hands. Cover your mouth when sneezing or coughing or into the elbow. Don't touch your face. It's kind of crazy. That's one thing I've noticed is how much we touch our faces and we don't even notice it. But especially eyes, mouth, and nose, because that's where we have mucous membranes and entrances into the body. So by avoiding touching those areas, we can help protect ourselves, avoiding large groups of people and staying home as much as possible. I'm throwing in kind of a bonus one over here. Clean your areas, your home. If you're home and you're bored, clean. At our office, we have a very clean office to start with. But instead of using Clorox wipes, we have switched to hospital grade disinfectants. We are spacing out our appointments. We are disinfecting the entire adjustment area in between every patient, as well as the restroom, all the equipment, all the common areas, the doorknobs. So you name it, we're disinfecting it. So take this time and clean your areas. Now, how long will coronavirus stay on a surface? Shout out to my husband, Michael, for finding this graphic for me. So this is from Medscape. And so we can see that it can stay on plastic 2 to 3 days. This is obviously if you haven't cleaned it. It can stay on stainless steel, like a trash can, for 2 to 3 days, on cardboard for 24 hours, in the air, we already mentioned, for more than 3 hours. Interesting, copper, 4 hours. We need to all wrap ourselves in copper. Okay, so we're going to now start into our official 50. Are you ready? We've got 25 minutes, give or take, to get through these 50. Please know I could spend so much time on each and every one of these. This is to give you a broad overview. It's not comprehensive. I don't have absolutely everything under the sun here. And no, I don't expect everybody to do everything. The goal for tonight was to just flood you with ideas, and then you can pick the ones that work best for yourself and your family. So first, reduce your stress in whatever way you can. Maybe you start meditating. Again, if you're home and you have some extra time on your hands, meditation is a skill. It takes some time to learn and you have to practice it. So perhaps using this time to start meditating. There is a great app out there. It's called the Insight Timer app. I-N, S as in Sam, I-G-H-T. The icon looks like a wooden bowl, a brown wooden bowl. And they have over, well, I don't know how many. They've got hundreds and hundreds of free meditations, guided visualizations. You can search by the amount of time you have, by the topic. So I recommend that to my patients constantly because it's a great resource. Spending time in prayer, do deep breathing, do yoga, pick up a hobby. Maybe there's something you've always wanted to learn to do. Read a book, listen to music, sleep. We cannot overemphasize the importance of sleep. And again, I could do a 5-hour talk on sleep alone and proper sleep, sleeping environment and all of that stuff. But the studies are showing that people that get continuously less than 6 hours of sleep a night are at higher risk for just about everything, from infection to Alzheimer's. So quality sleep, more than 6 hours a night, is imperative for your immune system. That's when we fight disease. That's when we kind of replace and restore and replenish our supplies in our body. And if you're not getting that sleep, you can't do it, and your immune system is going to suffer. Limiting your sugar, preservatives, additives, anything that's not natural. If every time you take in sugar, it depresses your immune response for 6 to 8 hours. So again, one of the very easy things we can do to help boost our immune system is cut out the sweets, cut out the sugar, cut out the artificial sweeteners, preservatives, additives, all of it, as much as you can. Eat nutrient-dense foods instead of nutrient-poor or nutrient-neutral foods. And support our local farmers. Right now they need us too. And the products and produce that they have can really help your immune system. Stay hydrated with pure water. Again, we could talk for hours on this. In the Tampa Bay area, I do not encourage people to drink tap water. The tap supply here is not good, so I would say filter your water for sure. Avoid harsh chemicals. That includes cleaners, and right now we're using a bunch of harsh chemicals just in general, right, to clean up no matter where we seem to be. But if we can limit that, that's going to be great. And getting appropriate sun exposure to increase our levels of vitamin D naturally. So appropriate sun exposure, okay, I'm in Florida. So does that mean that you go out at 12 noon covered in like olive oil or Crisco and, you know, try and bake in the hot summer heat or hot spring heat? No, what that means is appropriate. So going out in Florida right now during this time of year between maybe at 9 and 11 in the morning, 15-20 minutes, letting the sun hit large areas of your body that don't have oils and lotions and sunscreens and etc. on top of them. You want it to hit your skin directly to help facilitate that vitamin D production in your body. And play is going to help reduce your stress, right? Many of you may be home with your kids or your family members. Take out a board game. Oh my gosh, do we even have this anymore? I think we do. Put down the technology and use this time to reconnect with the people that you love. If you're kind of home alone or your kids are grown, pick up the phone. Reach out to friends that you haven't talked to in a while and reconnect. And those social connections will help you feel less isolated, will help you reduce your stress levels. Okay, so that's our first 8. And again, not all encompassing. We've got a lot more to go. Some obligatory disclaimers before we get too much further along. None of the information presented in here is intended to replace medical advice. So I highly encourage, as we get into topics such as supplementation, that you work with a qualified healthcare professional that is well versed in these areas. This is not something you just want to go willy-nilly on. Every topic that I cover in here may not be appropriate for each individual person. So as I said, I am just giving you as many options as I can think of so that you can then take them and kind of sift through them and see what applies. Again, it's not recommended that you try to do all 50 things. Okay, so protect your airways. Very simply, how many of you people out there in Facebook land have hydrogen peroxide at home? So what you can do is you can take 2 capfuls of the hydrogen peroxide, which is about a teaspoon, put that into half a glass of warm water and gargle with it. One of the things we didn't really talk about, but a lot of viruses like that airway. They like the throat, and that's where they kind of gain entrance to the body, and that's where they start to replicate and divide. So if we can kind of get them there before they've had a chance to get into our lungs and such, that's better. So you're going to gargle with this hydrogen peroxide, and if you feel kind of a rawness or a burning, that's an indication that maybe there's something there. And in that case, you're going to continue gargling every 30 minutes that you're awake. I wouldn't wake up and interrupt your sleep for this, but every 30 minutes you're awake, you're going to gargle with that hydrogen peroxide water until it doesn't hurt anymore. You can also substitute essential oils and things like that, but again, you would have to work with somebody who's well versed. Number 10, we have Zicam. Zicam is a line that you can get in Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, and they feature a lot of zinc in their products. This particular one contains no zinc. But they have swabs, they have sprays, they have lozenges, they have all kinds of things. But again, trying to target, as much as it's not fun, the nasal spray can target any of the viruses that are in the nose, which again, most of the viruses are going to gain entrance through our airways, right? Nose and throat. So that can get to it directly. I would be remiss if I did not mention chiropractic is number 11. So very simply, chiropractors are dealing with your nervous system. When I talk to little children, I ask them what system or what in your body runs the rest of your body. And even little kids know that it's your brain. And your brains use your spinal cord and all the nerves that branch off to communicate with every cell in your body. So we have, somebody counted, I don't know who because it wasn't me, 50 to 70 trillion cells in the body. And those 50 to 70 trillion cells have to be told essentially every second of every day what to do, what not to do, when to do it, how to do it. So I tell parents it's like having 70 trillion toddlers running around 24/7, and that's what your brain is dealing with all day, every day. It's like little Johnny, put that down, pick that up, put it away, leave your sister alone. It's times 70 trillion every day. So those messages are flying rapidly, 300 miles an hour or so, and it's understandable that certain things would interrupt with that flow of information. So chiropractors are concerned with misalignments in the spine, and these very subtle misalignments, a millimeter or two, can be enough to interrupt that flow of communication between the brain and the body. So chiropractors very simply identify those misalignments that we call subluxations. We help correct them, and then we help the patient understand how they can kind of stay on top of that. So these misalignments and helping the nervous system, really at the end of the day, I tell my patients, all I'm doing is I'm allowing your brain to talk to your body at 100%. I don't know how to heal a paper cut. I mean, you saw the alphabet soup after my name. I have a bunch of degrees. I'm pretty intelligent, but I don't know how to heal a paper cut. I don't know how many platelets to send. I don't know how many white blood cells. I challenge any doctor on the planet to be able to answer that question, but your brain knows how to do it. We just have to put it back in control and let it take care of your body the way that it knows how to. So that's kind of very simply Chiropractic 101. And chiropractors, by doing that, by letting the brain run the body, then it helps enhance everything, including the functioning of your immune system. So now we're going to talk about a handful of essential oils. And again, there's so many out there, and I could spend an hour on each one. I'm just going to go through these super quickly. The first one that I recommend is On Guard. In this office, we endorse doTERRA products. Young Living is also a great brand. There's several good quality brands out there, but I definitely would advise you not to use, Target, Walmart, CVS brands, etc. Use something that is high quality, nutrition grade, doctor grade, organic. Look for some of those types of labels. So On Guard is an antimicrobial blend. It helps reduce pathogen load. So some of the hospitals down in Tampa actually diffuse this in their hospitals to, again, cut down on hospital-induced infections. So that is what we are diffusing here right now, that we do every cold and flu season. Melissa is probably the most powerfully antiviral essential oil that I'm aware of, and I use it with patients for things like Lyme disease. It can be, Melissa oil is an expensive oil, but it is powerfully antiviral. Oregano, powerfully antibacterial, and I understand COVID-19 is a virus, but if there is another type of infection, a bacterial infection, then the oregano can be assistance. Lavender oil, of course, can help with stress reduction. The citrus oils are great for cleaning. There's no mistake as to why many of our cleaning products are scented with orange and lemon. It's because they also have antimicrobial properties. So they can help with cleaning, and they're uplifting for your spirit. So very simply, you can just put drops of the essential oil in a bottle with some water and spray it around to wipe down surfaces. So all of the citrus oils, orange, lemon, lime, lemongrass, bergamot, grapefruit, any of those citrus oils that you can think of. Tea tree, which is also known as melaleuca, again is antimicrobial, can be used for cleaning. Peppermint and eucalyptus can help open the airways. Now, depending on the oil, some of these oils can be diffused in the air, and there's different types of diffusers. So depending on what your goal is therapeutically would determine the type of diffuser that you would get. Some of them can be inhaled, some of them can be applied topically, and some of them can actually be taken internally. But again, this is where you would work with somebody because they may interact with a medication, or it might not be appropriate to take internally. So again, I encourage you to work with somebody who's well-versed in this arena. Okay, I'm going to take a quick breather because now we're at number 19, and this is where we start talking about supplements. And again, with supplementation, you need to work with somebody who's qualified, who understands these, who understands your health history. And you also, it is imperative if you're going to do supplements that you invest in high quality supplements. I would rather my patients be on fewer supplements that are high quality than to go and spend a small fortune on supplements that essentially do no good. Now, when we're talking about supplements, there are three important pieces or things that we have to think about. First, it has to be digestible. So when you put that supplement in your mouth, your body has to be able to break it down and digest it. If it can't digest it, then it's not doing you any good. And things like the one-a-day vitamins, Centrums, those really hard compressed tablets, I've had patients where they just literally travel all the way through the digestive system and never get dissolved, and they just excrete them out. So kind of a waste of money. So first thing is digestion. Second thing is absorption. Once the body has broken it down and digested it, it has to be able to be absorbed into our bloodstream. If the format of the supplement is such that it can't be absorbed, then again, it's useless to us. But if it's been digested and it's been absorbed, then the next piece is it bioavailable? So essentially, does our body recognize it? For example, things like calcium has at least 8 different varieties. One of them is essentially chalk, all the way up to ones that you can use in the body. So it's really important to know, okay, is this digestible, is it absorbable, and is it bioavailable? Now, in this following slides, I have highlighted some companies that I like their products. Having worked with supplementation now for about 20 years, I definitely have products that I like from certain companies. Just know that some of them are not available at this time because of the coronavirus, but at least you will have kind of this big picture of information. First, vitamin D3, super important. D3, the one that I like the best, the one that I take, the one that my whole family takes, or at least they are if they know what's good for them, is Emulsion 40. This comes in a little drop. Each drop is 2,000 IUs of vitamin D, so it's super easy to modify the dosage. And it tastes like a sesame seed. So it's very palatable. Even kids like it. So real simple. Next is vitamin C. I recommend taking up to 500 milligrams every 2 to 4 hours that you're awake. Again, don't disrupt your sleep for it. Therapeutic dosing can be up to 5 to 7 grams. But again, you want to stay within bowel tolerance. All that means is if you take too much vitamin C, it can give you a little bit of diarrhea. So you just back off. I like the liposomal vitamin C by Designs for Health. The only caution with vitamin C is if you have a genetic deficiency called the G6PD deficiency that involves your red blood cells, you should not do any high doses of vitamin C. Next is zinc. So zinc, we've known for a long time that zinc can reduce the severity and the duration of colds and flus and viruses, and that's why it's in so many formulations. You take it as soon as symptoms appear, and it can disrupt the viral replication and copying process. Now, you may have heard that they are starting to use chloroquine. I just forgot the brand name of it, Plaquenil. They're starting to use Plaquenil to treat COVID. And one of the ways that Plaquenil works is that it helps increase the ability of a cell to absorb zinc. So kind of cool thought. Next, we have omega-3 fatty acids. These are critical for health in a whole variety of reasons. For a whole variety of reasons. They help every system in your body work better. So this is one of my go-to recommendations just in general. The brands that I like, my favorite 3 are Nordic Naturals because they have such a wide variety of formulations. They've got gummies, they've got oils, they've got capsules, they've got chewables, they've got all kinds of them. The next one that I really like is up here, Carlson's. That's the one my dad takes. Hi, Dad. And then this one over here, I actually had brought ours. So Barlean's makes this, and it's in multiple different flavors, and it's kind of a yogurt consistency. So super easy to take for people that don't like to swallow pills. So that's omega-3s. Echinacea. So echinacea is an herb. You can start taking that as soon as you start feeling run down. Oftentimes it's combined with golden seal. My caution with this is you don't take it for more than 2 weeks in a row because it can start to kind of go the opposite way and be a little bit damaging to your liver. Well, not damaging, but the liver doesn't like it. Let's see here, black elderberry. Black elderberry also interferes with the replication process of viruses, so it can reduce the intensity and the duration. So Sambucol is probably the most popular brand. Again, you can get this at Walgreens, Rite Aids, places like that. They have liquid formats, lozenge forms. Even kids like the flavor of this. So again, it's an easy way to kind of help. Now, medicinal mushrooms. This is things like turkey tail, maitake, chagas, lion's mane. These all have immune boosting properties. They can help fight everything from cancer to viruses. My favorite is Immunotone Plus from Designs for Health, but MRS Mushroom Formula from Pure Encapsulations is also a great one. But I know some people may grow these. They may make tinctures of them. Check with your local botanical companies or herbologists. Maybe they've got something even better. Garlic. How many of you have garlic in your kitchen right now? So you can cook with it. You can eat it raw. You can take it in supplement form. The one I like for supplements is alicillin, but truly you're going to be better off if you just eat it and cook with it. An easy way to take garlic is you mince it, so peel it, take a clove, peel it, mince it, so chop it up small, mix it with about a tablespoon of plain yogurt, no sugar, plain yogurt, and just swallow it. Swallow the whole thing. And that way you don't have too much of the garlic taste. Magnesium. Most people are deficient in magnesium, and it plays a lot of different roles with other reactions in the body. It reduces muscle spasm. It enhances sleep. So that's another great reason to take it. And I like magnesium zyme from Biotics. Coconut oil, you can cook with it. You can put it on your body. You can put it in your body. You can do all kinds of things with coconut oil, and that contains monolaurin, which again has antimicrobial properties. So coconut oil is one of the healthy fats, so we recommend that. Okay, so we've kind of talked about a lot of things so far that most people have heard of. Now we're kind of branching into some of the supplements that are more high-powered maybe, but maybe people haven't heard so much about them. And I should also mention these are in no particular order. First one is glutathione. That is known as a master antioxidant. So antioxidants fight free radicals, which essentially is when things start to produce waste in the body, or when there's oxidation. You can think of that like things inside your body getting rusty. The glutathione can go and get rid of that rust in your body. It helps recycle and maximize other antioxidants, so it enhances the function of vitamin C, vitamin E, CoQ10, alpha lipoic acid, so it does a really good job at all of that. But the dietary forms can be harder to absorb, meaning telling you what foods it's in, it can be hard to extract the glutathione from the food. So this is one that I typically recommend people supplement with or do an IV with. And the reduced form is the bioactive form. So if you're looking at supplements and you're trying to figure out, well, this one's reduced and this one's not, go with the reduced one. And I should also mention a lot of these nutrients that we're going to be talking about, you can obtain from food. I did not take the time to put the foods on the slide because honestly, you can Google that. You can look it up online. It'll give you something to do while you're home and bored instead of taking up time right now. L-lysine supports the production and repair of proteins in other parts of our cells, which is great because as cells kind of retire, we need to be able to make new cells behind them so that we don't lose functionality of our bodies. And L-lysine is super important with that. If we didn't have it, our cells would slowly degrade over time. We have used L-lysine for antiviral uses with HSV, so herpes simplex viruses like cold sores. I've used this with patients with shingles, which is also a herpes simplex virus, with really good success. So L-lysine is definitely great. Now, N-acetylcysteine or NAC, this has respiratory benefits. It can thin the mucus, it can decrease the risk of certain infections, and it can also decrease the risk of developing severe bronchitis if somebody already has a respiratory issue going on. Lipoic acid, this is one bad guy. He's pretty amazing with the functions he does. First thing is he increases our type 1 interferons in the body, which, okay, who knows what those are? All we need to know is that those guys, those type 1 interferons, they actually tell that your cells to start their antimicrobial programs inside their cell. So what does that mean? That means it can help limit the spread of viruses. It means it can increase our natural killer cell numbers. Natural killer cells, again, there's like the assassins in our bodies. So we definitely, in times like this, want as many of those as possible. So lipoic acid can increase the number of our assassin cells, can increase the number of our memory cells as well. Lipoic acid is an antioxidant that also will potentiate or extend the effect of vitamins C and E, some of our other antioxidants. So lipoic acid is definitely a powerhouse, as is quercetin. I've also heard that pronounced quercetin, tomato, I guess. Now, this particular supplement can react with calcium channel blockers, estradiol, and immune suppressant drugs. So if you're taking any of those, again, you need to be working with a healthcare professional who understands this. This is the flavanol that is found in elderberry that we talked about a few slides back. This inhibits the virus's ability to infect the cell, so it actually protects the cell itself from that little flash drive inserting in. If that happens, it can help to reduce the replication of the cells that are already infected. And if the cell that's been infected is treated with antivirals, this will decrease their resistance to that treatment. So again, pretty amazing, pretty powerful abilities, but you have to use it with caution. Now, Mercola.com had listed out some human studies that have been done with this particular nutrient, so we're not going to go over all of them, but we can just see that it can protect the very bottom statement. It's been shown to protect against a broad spectrum of pathogens, including rhinoviruses, adenoviruses, so common cold, and coronaviruses. So pretty amazing stuff. Probiotics. Remember, 80% of your immune system is in your gut. So we need to take care of our gut. We need to take care of those flora and those fauna, and we need to nourish them. So to support the microbiome, we use probiotics. So a couple that I like are up there, biotics and pure encapsulations. Astragalus, this is an herb that is an adaptogen, meaning if you're too high in something, it will help it lower. If you're too low, it will raise it up. It helps your body find balance and adapt to situations. Used quite prevalently in Chinese medicine. So it also helps stimulate the immune system. It provides antioxidants. It's anti-inflammatory and antimicrobial. So again, super powerful. Cat's claw, this is one I don't know as much about. I have not used this with my patients, and it may be contraindicated for people who are on blood thinners or who have blood pressure problems, but it can be associated with immune system function, including the ability of those white blood cells to kind of gobble up, Pac-Man up the invaders, and clearing out debris. That's the phagocytosis and macrophage activity. Colloidal silver, that is a brand that you can pick up in the like a health food store. Sovereign silver. I like the Argentine brand, but a lot of those are really hard to get a hold of right now. So colloidal silver, research is out on that. I've had patients who swear by it, but it's one of those things where, well, it's an option. You can think about it. So I'm like, okay, we're going to run out of time. I need to speed this up. So some other options, CoQ10 or ubiquinol is great in supporting overall health. Golden seal, I already mentioned, oftentimes is used in combination with echinacea. B12, a word of caution on B12. If you're taking an oral supplement that you swallow, it's essentially not really helping because B12 is usually destroyed by the stomach acid. So the best format of B12 is injection. The second best format is a lozenge that you can melt under your tongue, and that way the B12 can be absorbed in the mucosa. Apple cider vinegar, raw local honey, as long as you're over the age of 1 or 2 years old. Oftentimes you'll read people mix those together, and that's fine. Something called fire cider. This is something that I've recently been introduced to, and it's basically you mix a whole bunch of things that we've already talked about, like ginger and garlic and chili peppers and all kinds of stuff, and you ferment it for 30 days, and then you drink a couple of tablespoons of that a day, and it's supposed to help boost your immune system and kill off invaders. Fermented foods, that's super important for the microbiome. The microbiome loves fermented foods like sauerkraut. And Michael, what was it you told me about sauerkraut just the other day?
High vitamin C.
One of the highest levels of vitamin C. So if you don't want to take vitamin C supplements, start eating sauerkraut. And then selenium is another great option in terms of supplementation. Now, this is something that drives me crazy when I hear it. Well, okay, Dr. Kelley, thanks for the information. I'm going to go look at Amazon.com. And my caution for people is if you're putting a substance in or on your body, you don't want to buy it at Amazon. Amazon's great for, cooking utensils and clothes and books and things like that. But for anything you're going to put in or on your body, I wouldn't trust a website that large. There have been too many cases that have been reported with everything from shampoos, body lotions, conditioners, essential oils, and supplements that the resellers are basically going and they're just buying the bottle and then they're filling it with an inferior product and resealing it and sending it and selling it as the original. And so if you're going to be paying top dollar for a high quality supplement, you want to make sure you're actually getting the right stuff. So please don't go to Amazon for those. Okay. Number 46. I know we're just over our hour mark, but we're going to wrap this up. So nutritional IVs, you can think of this as liquid vitamins. It takes saline. In the saline bag, the nurse practitioner who has determined what is going to be supplemented can put things in like vitamin C, B complex, B12, glutathione, etc. Takes about an hour for the slow IV drip. This is something that we do here Thursdays in our office when our nurses are here. So this can be a way to really boost your immune system very quickly, especially if you don't either don't want to take the time, don't have the time or can't find some of these other supplements that we've been talking about tonight. Now, here is a fantastic study. This was a study about a woman in Wuhan. She was admitted to the hospital in Wuhan on December 29th. The study chronicles her rapid decline as her organs shut down and her system shut down, and basically she's not going to make it, call the family in, and they decide as a Hail Mary last-ditch effort to put through IV mesenchymal stem cells. So mesenchymal stem cells are obtained by donation, just like people can donate their organs or donate blood. Moms that have had a scheduled cesarean and have passed all of the health screenings can donate the placenta, the amnion, the cord blood, etc. So mesenchymal stem cells obtained in that way and then purified and injected back in. The woman was back on her feet and able to walk after her very first shot of umbilical cord stem cells. She had 3 total, and within, I think, 2 days of her third injection, she returned home, full functionality. All of her vitals were normal, and now she's testing negative for COVID. So just something really amazing. We also do stem cell treatments in this office. I encourage you, if you are home, you're not working, you have downtime, or you're working from home, use this time to maximize your health. You will never see somebody who is kind of older or broken down saying, gosh, I wish I had spent my money doing other things. All of those people would give anything they have if they could just have their health back. So health is wealth, and you don't really realize it maybe until you don't have it or until you've had a little scare. So use this time to do things that you've been putting off. Start corrective care in a chiropractic office. Start with proper supplementation. Do some journaling, yoga. Here's bonus tip number 51. Gratitude is so important. Instead of being so stressed out about the things we don't have right now, or the things that we're afraid of that haven't happened yet, use this time to remember what you're grateful for. Jot those things down, write them down, talk about them with your kids. That's a great habit to get into, focusing on those positive things. Start a hobby, do some meditation. I forgot to mention this earlier, but you could also, exercise is super important as long as you're not already sick, doing some real gentle exercise. My sister and her boyfriend have 5 kids up in Maine. So Wendy, Dex, Katie, hi, Darren, everyone. What they've done is they have turned one of their rooms into like a home gym. And between 2 hours in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon, the kids are not allowed to use their devices, their phones and iPads, unless they're using them for exercise. So pretty cool. Helps them to stay entertained, helps them to stay engaged, helps them stay physically fit, not put on weight during this time frame. Use the time to cook some healthy meals. So to that end, I do have these recipes available here. I'm also willing to email them to anybody that wants them. Homemade cough syrup is healthy tip number 8. Ginger green tea, 2 powerhouses for the immune system, tip number 49, and a chicken and kale soup. So instead of doing chicken noodle soup, replace the noodles with kale. You've got garlic, you've got chicken, you've got good fat, you've got onions and carrots and celery and all kinds of yummy stuff in there to really help boost the immune system. This is our website. On this website, there's a couple of important features. One, there's a contact button over there. If you go and you type in a question, or you want a copy of those recipes sent to you, send me your email address. I'm happy to send it out for you. If you're looking for some of the oils or supplements that we talked about tonight, you can go to the website, and under the products tab, you can see essential oils and supplements. If you go to supplements, it takes you to this website called Fullscript. It's free for me and it's free for you. You can just put in your email, and that gives you an account. And then you can go in and look at all the different supplements that I've talked about tonight. I will tell you though that Fullscript, probably 75% of their inventory is back ordered. So we do have some limited supplies here in the office of some of the supplements that I spoke about tonight. And then if you click on the essential oil button, it takes you to the back end of doTERRA. There is my email address, and I will note, I spell my first name Kelley, so EY@ThriveChiroFL. If you have specific questions about anything I've discussed tonight, please feel free to reach out. Just know, if you're not a patient here, I cannot answer any medical questions if I've never seen you as a patient, but I'm happy to answer questions in general. There is our phone number, and again, our website. And oops, went one too far. So in closing, thank you for being here with us tonight. You had lots of other things that you can do. I know I ran over by about 10 minutes. My apologies. But I hope that you picked up some tips that you can use right away to help increasing your immune system, boosting your health, making you feel like you have more empowerment and more choice. You have more control over your health than you probably ever thought possible. I'm here as a resource. As I mentioned, we are open. So in closing, again, thank you for being with us tonight. Practice gratitude, stay safe, stay healthy, and thanks again for your attention tonight.